good evening, good morning to people joining in. Welcome to this session. Great. Yeah, just quickly introduce yourselves on the chat. Let us know where you're from. My name is Aparna, and I'm going to be your host for today. And we've got Solomon, who's also going to be with us, going to take you through his journey and also about how you can learn master machine learning without quitting your day job. Yeah. So let us know your name. Let us know which part of the world you're joining us from. Yes. So we're also live on our social platforms, LinkedIn and YouTube. So in case you're joining us from either of these areas, either of these platforms, just let us know your name and also introduce yourselves. Let us know which city you're from as well. Hi, Fran, Pete, Manjunath. I think my voice was okay. If you're hearing an echo, maybe just rejoin. Should be okay. Hi, Saranya. Hi, Sandeep. Hi, Emmanuel. Hi, Zuha, Ganesh, Rita, Dennis. Hi. Hi, Grant, Pat, Mavish. Okay. Hi, Mansi, Pragya, Jennifer. Hi. Hi, Florica. Great to see your introductions. Let's see. Peter, hi. Okay. Okay, that's great. So we're also live on LinkedIn. In case you can see us here, it'd be great if you can introduce yourself as well. Okay. So while you do that, let me just quickly talk about what we have in plan for today. A lot of you are working professionals, and I'm sure you're all interested, and that's why you're here. I'm sure you're all interested in learning machine learning, taking up jobs, careers, or switching careers to data science or machine learning, and you want to do that while you're still working. So that's the agenda of this session, and we're going to help you understand how structured learning is really important. And we'll also highlight how our Michigan Engineering ProEd professional certificate in AI and machine learning will help you do exactly this, which is to upskill, learn machine learning, and understand how things work as a machine learning engineer, what kind of career paths you can take up, and how this course or program helps you, move you closer towards your career goal. Okay. We'll also talk about how you can be a part of this program, and towards the end, we'll wrap it up with questions. Okay. So glad to see all of your introductions. I know you might have a lot of questions to ask Solomon. So what I request you to do, if you have a question, is please ensure you put it on the Q&A box. Now, you can see that there are a lot of people who are joining in. Close to 140 of you guys are here. And add that with people on LinkedIn and YouTube. So it's going to be hard for us to keep a track on the questions that come on the chat box. So use the Q&A box for questions, and keep the conversations related to what's being discussed. Keep your questions related to what's being discussed, right? And towards the end, we'll tell you how you can receive your webinar certificate and also the recording for this session. Okay, so make sure you stay till the end, and you get to understand what your roadmap should be as well. Okay, so if you're ready to go, I'm just going to launch a quick poll to understand your background. So let us know what your professional background is. I'm just going to launch that poll, and that's how you'll share your responses. This is for people on Zoom, but in case you're watching us on YouTube, or LinkedIn. Vanessa joining us from YouTube, Greg joining us from YouTube as well. Let us know your professional background. Put your answers on the live chat. Yes, Shiva, we're going to do that. We're going to do that in depth. Let's just wait for some more time. It's fine if you're a student. I think the poll does not have that option. It's okay. You can just share your responses on the chat. So the assumption was that people have closer or more than 5 years of experience. But if you are a fresher, put that on the chat. Okay. 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 A lot of you are freshers too. If you're not, whatever your role is, just let us know your answers on the chat box. Okay. Let me see what people on LinkedIn have to say here. A lot of you are freshers. Sorry. Yeah. Hi, Abdul, Shubham, Vaisak, joining us from LinkedIn. Let us know your background too. Great. Great. Hi, Jackie. A lot of your students. Okay. Okay. Good to know. So I'm going to end this poll right here and share these results. So Solomon, I'm sure you're able to see these results now. About 43%, close to half of them are people who belong to the tech and product roles. 23% of them are actually from data science, which is great. And close to half of you are, experienced anywhere between 5 to 7 years, which is great. Okay, amazing. Thank you, Solanki, Vikash, Ria, all of you guys for your responses. This actually helps. Solomon, I'm going to keep these results shared for a while so that you can also see and help you tweak your conversation as well. Yeah, so with that, I'm going to introduce Simplilearn to you. Now, in case you're attending our webinars for the first time and you've come across Simplilearn for the first time, let me just quickly talk about what we do. So what we offer is courses, certifications, career-aligned learning paths in all of these domains that you see: AI, machine learning, business analytics, data science, cybersecurity, project management, agile and Scrum. So a lot of courses on these domains and a lot more. Actually, we've also got courses for business folks. Some of you, said you belong to business roles as well. So you can check out our portfolio of courses on simplylearn.com. We've partnered with a lot of leading universities and organizations across the world. We're going to talk about how we've partnered with Michigan Engineering Professional Education for the program that I'm going to talk about. And of course, if you want to check out courses on the other partners as well, you could head to simplylearn.com and head to the category that you are interested in and drop an entry if you really want to talk to a learning advisor. Okay. Yeah. So with that, let me introduce our speaker for today, Solomon, who's joining us as he's also a data science instructor with us. He's also a trainer for the cohorts for this particular program, the professional certificate in AI and machine learning. So he's got a lot of years of experience under his belt. He's trained more than 1,000 learners, just like you, on Python, data science, and machine learning. And he actually was ranked 56 out of 592 in Vehicle Insurance Claim Challenge, showcasing his problem-solving skills. And beyond teaching, he's worked on a lot of data science projects himself. So great to have you here, Solomon. I'll let you introduce yourself and then we'll start the session.
Thank you, Apna. My name is Solomon Promise. I am a data scientist. I am also an instructor with several years of experience. Like Apna has said, I've trained over 1,000 learners in Python, data science, machine learning. And aside of training, I'd also worked as a machine learning engineer. Yeah, I'm also a co-founder of an edutech firm with the mission of democratizing tech education to kids and teens. Yeah, so I've been in the tech space for quite a number of years now, and I've also been an educator for all of this number of years. Yeah, so it's going to be a wonderful journey together today. Thank you. Over to you, Apna.
Yeah, great. Thanks again for being here. And so today's session, as you can see, is all about conversation. And I would be really interested to understand how you started out in machine learning and how challenging was it if you were transitioning, or you could also share some learners' journeys in your training experience. How challenging is it to learn or kind of switch to machine learning while they're already working in a full-time job?
All right, thank you. So as someone coming from a non-tech background, I studied petroleum engineering, my bachelor's degree. I didn't do a lot of tech. I think just one of it. Transitioning was not very, very smooth. Yeah, it wasn't very smooth because I needed to leave my field of petroleum, transit to data science and machine learning. And I started out learning on my own. It was very chaotic. Yeah, there was no structured paths. I would just lay my hands on a material, and I think I did that for over a year or so, trying to learn on my own. Yeah, but I was not making several or a good amount of progress because it wasn't structured. Yeah. Not until I joined a training firm as an intern, where I got to intern with them for 5 months. That was where I got a structured learning experience. And that was actually the foundation I needed to start out my journey. It was a completely different experience because it provided the structure I needed. And it also gave me the opportunity to meet other persons. So I was not just learning on my own like I did before joining the firm. Yeah, I had the privilege of rubbing minds with some other learners like myself. And that was a game changer for me in my journey. Yeah, so over to you.
Right. So what was like your biggest roadblock? So was it learning alone or was it managing time with work? What was kind of
All right. All right. So I think at different points, there were different challenges. So one of the first challenge was learning without a structure. Yeah, that was one of the first challenge I faced, learning without a structure. Yeah, it wasn't a very easy or smooth journey, just trying to pick up materials, nobody guiding you, no mentor, no tutor. Yeah, just some YouTube videos. And even if you get to take courses online, it's just a one-way thing. You do not interact with your tutor. You just get to watch some videos. So that was one of the challenges I initially faced. And the challenge of time, yeah, because I started working at some point. Yeah, so it wasn't also very easy managing my time. Yeah, especially the fact that I'm doing this on my own. There's nobody kind of guiding or supervising what I'm doing. Yeah, so you could just procrastinate or just think that you get this done after maybe 2 days from now, and at the end of the day, 3 months is gone. You are still very stuck on your learning journey. Yeah, so those were a few challenges I faced during my learning experience.
Got it. All right. So definitely learning alone was like, the biggest challenge. So I would like to understand from the learners as well. So yeah, I think we're already seeing some learners sharing their journeys. Pavitra, who says she also has the same problem, don't have the knowledge to learn from where. So if you can share learners, what your biggest roadblock is to kind of learn something new or upskill in machine learning. Without having someone guide you? What is your biggest challenge amongst the four that you see here? You could just let us know your answers on the chat. Yeah, time, definitely, busy schedules. It's really hard to, stay consistent when you have a hectic work schedule. Yeah, and also if you're in senior roles. All right, Pavitra, point taken. So someone says waking up early and staying up late helps. All right. Same problem, finding it hard to learn and work. Yeah, you have to pay your bills. Difficult to be consistent, maintain time, hard to keep momentum. Yeah, exactly. Yes, where to start is also a biggest problem, which is
Yeah,
actually what, yeah, which is actually what our next, conversation is going to be about. So how does one really start? Like, if you have just like some framework for someone starting out, and all these concerns seem very, very valid. So what would you advise to someone starting out?
all right. So I think one of my greatest or one of the biggest advice to anybody starting out is having a structured learning path. Yeah, so now you could have a structured learning path that you create for yourself, maybe
Mhm.
with the help of the internet and all of those. That might work. But when you have a structured learning path that is external from yourself, I think for me that's a big game changer. Yeah, because the structure is not managed by you. Let's take, for example, if I'm taking a course online and I have 3 months, I can take that course for more than 3 months. I can take that course for more than 4 months. But if I'm following a structured learning path and from the structure that is external from myself, it's 3 months. I know that after 3 months, I do not have the chance to continue the course. Yeah, so for me, that's one of the biggest um, game changer, having a structured learning path that is external from yourself. Yeah, it would help you build the discipline, the consistency, and all of the things you need, yeah, to get done with that. So that's one of the things I would say about that.
Got it. And so how would you recommend what, starting out? So let's say, what should someone learn if they want to kind of switch to machine learning? I know a lot of them are from tech related fields, but 23% is actually from data science itself. But what about someone who's not a machine learning engineer? How would you recommend starting out for this person?
All right. For someone coming from a non-tech background, and even someone coming from a tech background, I would recommend starting out with the fundamentals in Python. So I tell my learners that Python is like every other language. For example, English language. You do not start learning English language by making sentences and writing letters. You start by learning the alphabets and the
Yeah.
vowels, the consonants, and learning all of those things. You can now begin to put things together, two-letter words, and the rest of that. So when coming into Python, into data science, machine learning, AI, the starting point is actually to learn Python. That's the programming part of it. You learn Python, starting with the basics of Python. So there's something we call introduction to Python. So you get to learn how you can use Python, how to understand Python as a programming language. Now,
Mm.
after learning that, you now transition to other things, but that's foundation. If you do not have a good understanding of Python, take for example, because I started learning following an unstructured path, by the time I got into a structured path, I realized that there are a lot of things I didn't know in basic Python. And I was already jumping onto data science and all of those. So the fundamental place is to start out with understanding Python as a programming language. Yeah, after that, you can add transition to some other things like data science, libraries for data science, libraries for machine learning, frameworks for deep learning, machine learning. We'll talk about all of those things as we progress, but the foundation is Python. But let me say this also, it's good to also have some knowledge of statistics. Yeah, so the goal is not to make you a statistician. Yeah, that's not the goal. The goal is just to have some of the basic knowledge. And if you did some secondary school, college, elementary statistics, that would be fine. But if you are coming from a non-science background, a little knowledge of statistics would help you understand things like mean, median, mode, so that when some terminologies are called, they would not just fly over your head. Yeah, you would understand what the tutor is talking about, and you can also relate with it. So having a good understanding of Python and a considerable knowledge of statistics is a good starting point. Yeah, thank you. Over to you now.
Yeah. So Solomon, we've got a related question about statistics here. So this person is taking another course with us in AI and machine learning, and he's spending a lot of time on statistics. So his question is, how well do I need to know it? And should I focus more on Python? And this person does not have background in programming. So what should they be focusing on more on statistics or Python if their goal is to become a machine learning engineer?
All right, so your goal is to become a machine learning engineer and not to become a statistician. Yeah, so the basic statistics is very okay. Things around descriptive statistics and inferential statistics, those are very okay. Mean, median, mode, some of the statistical tests, yeah, they fall under descriptive and inferential. Now, if you get that knowledge of statistics, you don't need to keep going deep and deep and deep and deep. Move on to Python. In Python, you need to learn the fundamentals of Python, like I said, introduction to Python, variables, data types, data structures, functions, defining functions, object-oriented programming, all of those basic things around Python, for loops, yeah, while loops, and the rest of that. Yeah, so those are some of the basic things you need to know.
Right. So after building core machine learning skills, what should their next steps be, and how important is learning generative AI and building a portfolio is actually?
All right, so let me start out with a portfolio. Yeah, a portfolio is very important. Yeah, so I tell my learners that the industry is very particular certificates. So there's we all know about certificates, but I'm sure not everybody know what certificate is all about. Yes, Sabi is a bad English, yeah, in Nigeria. So we call it Sabi when you know something. So employers want to see what you can do, right? And how can they see what you can do? Your portfolio is what shows them what you can do. So having a portfolio is very, very important. Getting to work on projects is also very, very, very important. And you asked about generative AI. We live in the world of AI. Yes, it has come to stay and it's not going anywhere. Yeah, so basic generative AI literacy is very, very important in today's world. Yeah, in today's world. So you do not need to be a king. Yeah, you do not need to be a lord. By that, I mean, you don't need to build agentic AI models and all of those things at the very beginning point, but having to write correct prompts, yeah, solve basic problems, even in your workplace, is very, very important. So generative AI skills is a non-negotiable, and having a portfolio is also a non-negotiable. This does not mean you wouldn't have certificates. Certificates are important, but portfolio is how employers can see that you actually can do these things. So yeah, that's it for those.
Got it. So someone has a question about roadmap. So just Sansky, I'm not sure what your name is, but we're going to talk about roadmap in the next slide. So a related question, another question that we have related to Python here, Solomon, is from a learner who says, so I observed that there are a lot of functions in libraries. How is it possible to learn almost all functions before building a project, or is it really necessary to learn all of it? How much is enough is basically their question.
All right, so this is where a structured learning approach comes in, right? So if you are trying to learn on your own, you'll be overwhelmed by a whole lot of things. But when you are being taught by a tutor like myself, I guide what you learn, right? I guide what you learn, yeah. So because of that, I streamline your learning to what is very, very essential for your learning journey. So you do not need to learn everything. Yeah, that's one of the things to say. And the other thing to say is that you get to know these things as you practice. You get to know these things as you practice. I do not have all of those functions stuck in my head. Yeah. So, but because I've worked on several projects and I've taken several classes, some of those things are just on my fingertips. That was not how it used to be when I started a few years back. Yeah. Then the other thing to say is that we have what is called documentation and source codes. Documentation, basically. So Python, every programming language out there has documentation. On the documentation, you can see all of the functions out there. You do not need to cram them. You do not need to force yourself to memorize them at the very beginning. You can always refer to the documentation again and again. But with constant practice, you definitely get to memorize all of these things without, it's going to come effortlessly. Yeah, so that's about that.
Okay, got it. So could you highlight how the course also helps? I know we're going to talk about the curriculum later, but since a lot of people are asking about how much theory of algorithms we be learning, is it enough? So maybe we can just talk in bits and pieces about what kind of Python training do we offer in the beginning, because like you said, that sets the foundation for everything else that comes in the course. So if you can just help us understand how those modules in Python are structured.
All right, so let me give you like an overview. So what we do here in Simplilearn is that when you join a cohort to take machine learning or a specialization, we start out with an introduction to data science, machine learning, to give you a theoretical overview of what your journey would look like. And after that, we dive into Python. Python, we call it Introduction to Python or Python Refresher. And like I said, the goal of that module or that badge section is to give you the fundamental knowledge of Python, what you need to know in Python, things like variables. Yeah, there is what we call variables. Things like function, knowing how to define your functions as a machine learning engineer. Yeah, a function is just like one of your work tools. Yeah, knowing how to write for loops, conditional statements. Yeah, knowing how to write things like classes under object-oriented programming, knowing how to navigate your way around using files. Yeah, so these are some basic things we teach you in Python before you are exposed to any data science concept, machine learning concept. We ensure that you are grounded in Python. Now, the data science comes later. You are building on the Python knowledge and skill you've gotten. Machine learning comes later. Data processing, analysis, and all of these things comes later. But the foundational part is getting to have a hands-on experience of using Python as a programming language. So you learn Python as a programming language, then we now streamline your learning experience to data science, machine learning, deep learning, AI as the case may be. So that's that.
So that's how we progress in the course. So maybe does this slide also, I think, explain what the path that one should follow in learning or building themselves towards, a machine learning job? Would you suggest that? Maybe if you can elaborate how one should go about learning each of these areas.
All right, thank you. So it does show you like the skill set you need. Like I said, the first skill set is the programming language. You need to learn Python. Yeah, we have R, C++, Java, and all of these things, but we teach Python for a couple of reasons. Number one, Python is very, very simple to learn. I saw somebody talked about if Python is tough or how tough Python is. Python is one of the simplest programming language out there. Take it from someone that has taught Python to learners that are complete novice to the tech world. Yeah, and within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they're already writing codes on their own. Yeah, Python is what we call a high-level programming language because it's very basic. It's more like English language. Yeah, simpler compared to languages like C++, and Java. Yeah, you can take an experiment at home, but to avoid yourself the stress, just take it from me. Python is very simple. Now that's where we start out from. After that, you need to come to data processing and analysis. So when we are done teaching you Python, we now teach you things like pandas, NumPy, Matplotlib, Seaborn. All of these things, we call them libraries. I saw somebody talked about libraries. Yeah, these are essential libraries to learn. Now, let me say this. Python is a programming language, not just for data science and machine learning. It's used for several other things. That's why after learning and getting a fundamental understanding of Python, we streamline your learning process to the data science and machine learning aspect of it. So you learn things like NumPy, pandas. NumPy is called numerical Python. It's used for some numerical applications within Python. Pandas is used for data cleaning, analysis, and all of those things. Seaborn, Matplotlib, they are used for making visuals. Yeah, so that's how the learning journey progresses. SQL and Excel, they are not Python tools. Yeah, SQL is called structured query language. It's a language for querying what we call a database. A database is like a warehouse where data is stored. So for you to get out database, you need a language that helps you query the database. That's where SQL comes in. I'm sure we all know Excel. I do not need to talk about that so much. Now we move on to machine learning algorithm. So what we do is that we get to expose you to the algorithms, and we also get to expose you to the API or framework. It's called sklearn or scikit-learn. Yeah, it's also a library that is used for machine learning in Python. Now, after that, you learn deep learning frameworks. That's where you learn TensorFlow, PyTorch, Keras. Keras is very, very simple. Yeah, because it's also a high-level framework. You do not need to do all of the things are not very granular. If you are coming from a non-tech background, you definitely get to understand or use Keras, yeah, because it's very, very simple. It's built on TensorFlow and PyTorch, and you can do everything you do on TensorFlow and PyTorch on Keras. Yeah, now all of these things I've mentioned help you build models. We call them models, machine learning models, predictive models, supervised models, unsupervised models, and all of those things, like your app that can predict if it would rain or not on your Gmail or Yahoo Mail, either any of the mails you use. When an email and a message comes to your email box, is being classified as spam, inbox, and all of those things. Models do that. Netflix movie recommendation, YouTube, all of the e-commerce industry, their apps are all powered by models. So machine learning and deep learning frameworks help us build those models. But now that is not the end of the game. After building those models, you need a different kind of skill set, which is called model deployment. That's how we take the model that has been built and we deploy them into real world environment. Take, for example, the YouTube. Okay, I have a new email, and when I went on my YouTube on that email, I didn't see any video. And YouTube told me, start watching videos so that we know what you like and we start making predictions for you. There is a machine in the YouTube system that makes that prediction. But that machine was first built on what we call an IDE. After building that machine, you need to deploy the machine into the YouTube software system. Yeah. That's where model deployment comes in. That's where model deployment comes in. Yeah, so we have also cloud computing and big data. Yeah, you could do some of the deployments on the cloud, AWS, Azure, and the rest of that. Big data for handling data sets that are quite large in number. So all of these are skill sets you need to have as a machine learning engineer. Over to you, Apna.
Got it. I think that's a pretty detailed explanation about what one should do. So I hope the learners paid attention. I know you've got a lot of interesting questions. We'll come to them in a while because, we're addressing the most important question that a lot of you had: what should my roadmap be? Right. So this is exactly what Solomon broke down now as well. So we'll talk about the course towards the in the next few segments. But I hope you got some clarity on what your journey should be. And it's not just about building models. Also, the end of the course is also about how you deploy these models. Yes, you will receive the recording to the session, but I hope you paid attention to this slide, because this is actually the most important aspect. So if you can maybe take a screenshot, and remember, when you guys registered, we told you that we'd give you a roadmap. Coming to what exactly should your time frame be, but this is like the most important part. So maybe once you took a screenshot, it's great. Great that someone has already done that. Give me a thumbs up or something so that we can proceed to the next slide, where we talk about how exactly you should be learning this over a certain span of time and how much time you should be spending. A few learners also had that question. Okay, that's great. Great. People on LinkedIn and YouTube also, maybe once you've done taken a screenshot, just let us know on the chat. Yeah. So just Sanski, we're actually coming to the next step, where how much time you should be spending. That's the next step. But the most important thing is what you should be learning. Yeah. 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 Okay. Amazing. So I'm just going to, go to the next question for you, Solomon, is, if
All
imagine
right.
someone is an entire beginner. You did say building a solid foundation program is necessary. We talked about how much time is needed there as well, and what should one learn. So I think the first step is pretty much clear. Can we assume that a month to 2 months is good enough for building that strong foundation, or do you see someone, or also have seen learners who spent more time on building that foundation before they proceeded to the next steps?
Okay, so building the foundation in Python, it shouldn't take you that much. Yeah, if you are just getting to learn Python and those things I talked about, functions, yeah, the basic Python programming, you should be able to do that within 3 weeks to 1 month. Now, please take note, the goal is not to become an expert in Python just at the beginning.
Yeah.
The goal is to learn enough Python that would help you in your learning journey. It's just like you move to maybe a non-English speaking country. Yeah, you do not need to understand the entire language just immediately. You just need to know enough of the language to communicate. Yeah, while you keep learning as your journey progress.
That's okay, Solomon. You can keep your video off. I understand that might have an issue with power, but I can still hear you, actually. Okay, I think we lost Solomon for just a bit. And while he fixes his video, yes, someone has this question. It'll be really helpful if you can put your name on the chat as well, because I'm not able to understand what your names are. It's really hard for me to read out email IDs. Yes, we will be sharing the slides as well. Okay. So Pallavi, I know you have a question about what projects will make you stand out. Actually, the course that we're going to talk about has a bunch of projects, end of course capstone projects. So when you do those projects, those are actually your portfolio. Those can actually help you build your portfolio and share it with prospective employers as well. And Pallavi, this course will also offer that opportunity for you to collaborate with peers and also mentors. So mentors like Solomon will also be able to guide you through the projects there. Okay. We'll talk about that in a while, but over to you, Solomon, now that you're back. You can go over and then talk about the roadmap.
All right, thank you. So, like I said, you just need enough Python knowledge to start out your journey. And like I'd also said previously, after Python, you can see the roadmap, build a solid foundation with programming. You move on to mastering data science fundamentals. What you learn here are libraries. And libraries make your life so easy. That's what I tell my learners. Libraries make your life so easy. It's more like plug and play. Yeah, it's more like plug and play. Most of the things or all of the things you need are already there. You just need to call them out and get to use them. Yeah. So that's the next thing you learn. But now, learning Python helps you build, not build now, it helps in efficiency by the time you start using your data science libraries. Yeah, so the Python knowledge you have would help you in how efficient you can be in your work. Now, after that, you transition to learning the machine learning frameworks and libraries, sklearn, TensorFlow, Keras, and all of those things. This is where you start building models. And maybe I should take it back again. Data science will teach you how to get meaningful information from your data. Yeah, so that's where you get to clean your data, deal with things like missing values, inconsistent data set, and all of those things. Now, when you are done with those things, you now have an understanding of your data. Maybe you are from the business world, you had the data set of your previous quarter or the last month. This is the 9th of September. Maybe you had the data set of your last month. You can analyze your data set, and get to understand what happened within the business last month. Maybe sales increased, sales declined, and all of those things. Now you move on to machine learning. That's where you build models. You can now build a model that can predict what your sales will be for the next month. Don't forget, with data science, you understood what your sales was for your previous month. With machine learning, you can build models that will predict what your sales would be for the next month using what we call historical data set. Now that's the learning map. Under machine learning, we'll be teaching you all of those algorithms. Now we work on real projects. One of the beautiful things with Simplilearn's learning structure is that you always get to work on projects. And I tell my learners, if you work on all of these projects, you would definitely build a very good hands-on experience. So for every module, there are a minimum of 2 projects. You have to work on one, but I tell my learners to always work on both, because that's how you consolidate your learning experience. And that's how you also prove to employees that you can learn, or you have learned those things. You have a mastery of those things. And it also has a way of building your confidence. Yeah, because you just started learning and now you are now building solutions. They may not be so complex, but they have a way of building your confidence as a person. Yeah, so that's one of the beautiful things here, is that you have several projects to work on. And aside of the projects you'll be given, there are also other platforms you can also get projects to work on to solidify and consolidate your learning. Then we have other courses that helps you expand your knowledge. Yeah, with specialized courses like Gen AI, generative AI, agentic AI, natural language processing, NLP, and several other specialized courses that will help you build a specialty. So the thing is that the field of AI machine learning is very broad. And so it's always very important to begin to carve your niche as you begin to learn. So my niche is to teach, right? So while other people want to go work in the industry, I prefer to teach. And I'm already building something around the edutech firm, because that's where my niche is. Your niche might be machine learning. Your niche might be deep learning. Your niche might be deployment. Yeah, you could have a niche, but it's very important to learn all of the fundamental things. And as you begin to learn, you get to find the area that interests you the most, and you build a niche or a specialization around that area. So that would be that about this. Over to you, Apna.
Got it. Just a follow-up question on this. You did mention about the roadmap and the skills that one should learn. So Pallav again has a question about so which skills from the list, which is like algorithm deployment or say cloud computing, which of these make the biggest difference to employers during interviews, let's say, or in an actual job? Which one do you see at like say the topmost priority?
All right. So if I want to be candid, many employers are looking for what we call full stack data scientists or full stack machine learning engineer. Yeah. So they need people that can wear multiple hats. And so that's why it's very important that you do not just know how to build models, you also know how to deploy models. You do not just know how to build models, you also know how to get out information from your models. Yeah. So I wouldn't say this is more important. Yes, if you just know how to build model and you cannot deploy models, you are actually at a disadvantage because your model will just remain in what we call a Jupyter notebook or your VS Code, and it's just going to, there will be no profit use case. Now, businesses want to make profit. That's the sole aim of businesses. Yeah. So you need to know how to get that information from business, from data rather, that can already help businesses make informed decisions without building a model. Yeah, just helping them understand their data set, helping them see insights in the data that would not be available to the normal human eyes is already something very important for several businesses. Yeah, building models, deploying models, all of these things are very important. Yeah. Yeah. So my advice is that start from the basic, get learning. Don't stop at just being able to get out information from data. Learn how to build models, machine learning models, deep learning models also. Don't just stop at learning how to build models. Learn how to deploy these models. And one of the things I tell my learners is that you need to learn the what, the how, and the why.
Right.
Yeah, knowing the how is very, very easy in today's world of generative AI. Yeah, but knowing the why is much more important. And I think that's one thing that will set you apart. Whether you're building model, deploying model, it's very good to know the how, but it's also very important to know the why. So that's it about that question.
Got it.
Thank you.
All right. Understood. I think with this, we've actually talked a lot about what the course offers. We've actually beautifully summarized how the course is built. So we'll just spend some time summarizing it for the learners as well. So obviously, everything that Solomon mentioned is a part of the program that we're going to discuss. We're just going to do a deep dive in the curriculum as well. That will give you learners more clarity on the roadmap that some of you requested, and also some of you have questions about what kind of projects will give you the edge, right? So apart from the curriculum and the projects that Solomon talked about, you will also be able to understand and gain GenAI expertise and also practical skills there. And of course, a recognized certificate that's co-branded with Michigan Engineering Professional Education and Simplilearn. Okay, Jeff, it's the main curriculum, which is the live class curriculum, is fairly similar, but I guess the difference lies in the electives. I may be wrong here. What you could do, the best answer here would be check the course page. I can actually share the link for the course that we're talking about. And you could just head to other AI machine learning course from here. Yeah. So maybe what we can do next, Solomon, is probably how I know we've given this roadmap on what should one do enough. We've talked about Python, we've talked about data science, talked about how generative AI is important as well. And then how, AI development, model development is important. And then, natural language processing. And of course, you talked about deployment as well. But could you also maybe shed some light on ethics and economics as well, and responsibility, and how that is important for someone to learn?
All right, thank you so much. So ethics is very important, yeah, when it comes to dealing with data sets. So one of the things I will say about that is that ensure that every country has their data protection rules that govern how some specific data sets or sensitive data sets are being used. Yeah, so you want to ensure that you are guided by the principle of the country where you are working from or your organization. yeah, the ethics that guides that. Yeah, one of the ethics is ensuring that privacy is kept. Yeah, if you are working with a very, very sensitive data. So ethics is it's very, very, very important. Ethics is very important. Now, somebody asked the question if there's a difference between econometrics and machine learning. Yeah, there is a difference. From the name, we already know that they are not the same thing. So econometrics deals with casual inference. What's the effect of X on Y? If the global price of crude oil goes down, what is going to be the effect in terms of inflation and the rest? That's what econometrics deals with. But machine learning is a subset of AI. In machine learning, we teach machines, we teach models to learn without being explicitly programmed. Yeah, we teach them to learn how to make predictions. It's beyond just cause and effect. It's about being able to predict what would happen in the future using historical data set from the past. Yeah, so that's what we do in machine learning. And machines do this themselves without the human needing to interfere or tell the machine what to do, basically. So there's a difference between that. Yeah, so I think that's it about that.
Right. Great. Thanks for answering that. I hope the learner got their question answered. So maybe if we can just, I think we talked about Python enough. So I'm just going to skip this slide and head to generative AI. So we've also got a lot of questions about how Gen AI is useful in learning, data science and building their skill in machine learning. You can maybe answer that, and also about how these are actually useful in the context of machine learning. So if you can just answer these two questions.
All right, so generative AI is useful. Maybe I should say this. There is the use case of generative AI where you get to use models like ChatGPT, Cloud AI, Gemini, and all of those things. Yeah, so for that, you just need some basic literacy around prompting and the rest of that. Yeah, but there's the other aspect of generative AI where you are an engineer or a builder. So you build generative AI models, yeah, like ChatGPT. Somebody asked a question around LangChain, I think so. So all of those things, they fall under generative AI. Yeah, but like I said, you can't jump the staircase. You have to start from learning the fundamentals, of Python, build on all of these things. Yeah, you can now start diving into learning, understanding transformer architecture. Yeah, it's what we call state of the art. Yeah, transformer architecture, exploring GAN and BAE. So these models help us do things like images. So I'm sure you developed an image before on Cloud AI or ChatGPT. The model that powers all of those image generation and the rest, they are all GAN AIs. Yeah, generative. Let me get out the full name for you. I think I'll just drop it on the chat. Generative adversary networks. Yeah, generative adversary networks. All of those things, all of those models, they are what is necessary or powers the development of images and all of that. Yeah, so that's what generative AI is. So like I said, you can have just the literacy where you can use large language models, and you can transition from that to having a good knowledge of it for you to be able to develop your own models, yeah, and also use what we call pre-trained models to also build some specialized models for yourself. So these are some of the things we teach in the cohorts also.
Got it. Understood. So also about machine learning, if you can just give a quick refresher about what happens in the course before we talk about specialization and projects.
All right. So like I said, for machine learning, the goal is to build models. Yeah, we have what is called supervised models. We have unsupervised models. We also have reinforcement models. These are some of the different models that we get to teach you about in the course. Yeah, we get to teach you how to build models that can learn from the data sets. Yeah, when we say supervised models, they are models that For example, I want to build a model that can predict the prices of house, and I'm going to feed it with historical data sets of the features of the different houses and their equivalent prices. So that model would learn how to make prediction in the nearest future. Yeah, that's for supervised model. We also have models that we just give them data and we want to understand the characteristics within the data set. Yeah, unsupervised model and a whole lot of that. So we go deep into this. Yeah. And one of the things we also do is that we learn about the algorithms. Beyond learning the codes, we also learn about the algorithms. Yeah. So that you have an understanding of the algorithms, you have an understanding of how they work beyond learning how to write codes. You also have an understanding of the algorithm. So that's one of the things we also do under the machine learning aspect of our course. Yeah.
All right. So could you also shed some light on capstone projects and how they happen, and maybe also some examples of capstone projects? What I could do here is maybe share my screen and show some examples of projects that we have. This is for learners who are still new to exploring the course. In case you want to do that, you can do that on the course page. And yeah, I'm just going to paste this link on the chat and restrict the chat box so that we don't miss the link. Yeah, sorry, Solomon. So if you can just explain, an example of how these projects happen and what do learners exactly do.
Okay, so like I said, one of the beautiful things is that you have several projects to work on. Yeah, a minimum of one project, but you'll be given 2 or 3 projects to select from. And these projects are industry-focused projects. Yeah, they are called capstone so that they cap your learning experience and they help you concretize and consolidate your learning. Yeah. Yeah, so we have projects from the finance world, we have projects from the prediction domain. So one of the projects my learners worked on was vehicle detection. Yeah, vehicle detection. Yeah, being able to detect vehicles, and I think it was a multiple vehicle detection project. We have several projects: finance, housing, banking sector, marketing, just to name a few. There are several projects out there that will help you consolidate your learning. And the beautiful thing is that this project are yours. You can also build. If you work on 15 projects at the end of the day, that's a whole lot to show an employee that you actually know this thing. That's a portfolio already. You could put them up on GitHub. You could build your portfolio yourself, and you get to present it or share it with employers. And you can take your project, because most times you are not asked to deploy your project, but you can take your project and also get to deploy your project yourself, just to concretize that aspect of your learning also. So that's it about that.
Got it. Understood. I hope that answers questions about projects. And actually, learners, all of this is offered to you with a learning platform environment that's unique to you. So you get credentials after you've enrolled, and that's where you're going to access your live classes, your capstone projects. And let's say you missed a live class, you're able to also take a look at the recording. And there's also a dedicated cohort manager to address all your queries related to whether it's your progress, related to accessing course material, anything. Yeah. So that's how the learning experience looks like. And we also offer something known as career support. By this, I don't mean that we give you job guarantee. We don't do that. What we do is help you refine your profile. We already do that through the course immensely. So you already know how or what employers are looking for when you build your project. You kind of know the language as well. So you kind of understand what your questions are going to be already. But additional to that, we'll help you refine your resume and give you tailored guidance on what your questions can be, help you with mock interviews, and also AI-powered profile optimization. And of course, that includes LinkedIn profile optimization as well. Okay. So this is how the course looks like, and how it really helps working professionals like you is all you need to probably do is spend about 45 minutes to an hour. Am I right, Solomon? Would that make the cut, or
Yeah,
what would you suggest?
yeah,
What's advice? Yeah.
yeah, that's fine. A daily of 30, 45 minutes. Yeah, working on your project, getting to go through class notes, recorded videos. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
by the time you do 30 minutes a day, you'd
Mm-hmm.
have done over 3, 4 hours at the end of the week. And that's a good one to help you consolidate your learning process.
And also all the classes that happen during the weekends, they're about how many hours long? If I'm correct me if I'm wrong. Each session is about 4 hours long. And
Yes, yes, we have a break time also for learners to just stretch their hands and come back to class.
yeah, of course. And that's like one class in in a course. So
Yeah.
each module is considered a course there. Let's say it's Python or machine learning or deep learning. These are all modules, and under these you've got courses. So the exact timetable is also available in the learning environment that you're able to access. Of course, by the end of it, you get a certificate and a digital badge that you jointly earn from Michigan Engineering ProEd and Simplilearn. And of course, you're gaining a full stack AI and machine learning skills, and you're definitely career ready with the learning approach that we offer you. Yes, I'm going to be talking about the program fee in a while. But before that, what we would like to talk about is some opportunities that the course can open up to the program, can open the learners up to, or what kind of career paths can they choose? Do you have advice on that as well?
All right, thank you. There are several career opportunities out there. We
Mm-hmm.
have machine learning, data scientists, NLP, computer vision, AI research scientists, AI solution architect. Now, the beautiful thing is also that there are different roles coming up. There are research roles and there are applied roles. So the research roles, you get to work on more research, yeah, groundbreaking technologies, yeah, research on new things that would come into the machine learning field. And there are those that work within the applied sector where they get to solve solutions. And with your with after going through this course, you could also transition if you want to go do maybe a PhD program and all of those things. Yeah. So, but there are several opportunities: machine learning, deep learning engineer, AI engineer, computer vision engineer,
Mm,
NLP engineer, all of the different specializations out there that you can always specialize in.
got it. All right. So those are your options again. So what I would want to do is, because we're going to talk about the program fee and the enrollment steps after this, so we're going to be switching gears entirely. So in case someone wants to take a screenshot of this slide as well, like I said, we're going to be sharing the deck and the recording. But in case someone wants to take a snapshot, they're totally welcome to do that. And meanwhile, there's just one more question that we had related to this slide. What is the difference between an AI engineer and a machine learning engineer?
All right. So an AI engineer and a machine learning engineer, I think one of the difference is that a machine learning engineer may work on more traditional model. By
Mm-hmm.
traditional model, I mean things like random forest,
Mm-hmm.
decision tree models, all of the traditional models. Yeah. An AI engineer would work more on deep learning models, neural network, and beyond that, he may do things around generative AI
Mm-hmm.
and NLP engineers, computer vision engineers. All of those guys can also be called AI engineers if we take away the specification. Yeah. So that's the key difference between both. But in most places, that
Mm-hmm.
difference is very blurred. Yeah, that
Yeah.
yeah, they can always interchange roles.
Right. Right. So probably what they should be learning and building foundation, everything would probably be the same. It's just that
Yes, exactly.
a minor difference between the role.
Yeah.
Got it. So another question for a person wanting to pursue a career in Gen AI. So if they already have a background in deep learning, what should they do next if they want to venture into Gen AI? What would your advice be for this person?
All right. So if you want to move from deep learning to Gen AI, you need to move beyond traditional CNN or RNN models to core Gen AI models and their architectures. So I talked about generative adversary networks. I talked about transformers. I talked about, no, I didn't talk, did I talk about transformers? Yeah, transformers,
Yes.
variational autoencoders. So all of these are generative AI models that you need to specialize on. You'd also need to learn things around pre-training versus fine-tuning. Yeah, learning how to use pre-trained models. You have many of them available out there on Hugging Face. And yeah, so you also, I'd already mentioned Hugging Face. You need to get familiar with that platform. It's one of the platforms where you have several of the models. You now need to do things around lang chain, yeah, weight and biases, open AI APIs. You need to learn how to use APIs from different LLM models and the rest of that. Yeah, then the most important thing is working on real generative AI projects. Yeah, so, but a deep learning foundation, it's a very good foundation to easily transition into the field of Gen AI.
Got it. Understood. Understood. All right. So we'll get to the other few questions in a while. I'm going to talk about probably the most asked question today, which is the admission details for the course. It's going to be very simple. If you guys have already expressed interest and are in conversation with a learning advisor, they'll probably help you with the enrollment steps already. But if you haven't, you're here for the first time, I'm about to launch a poll, and you can select a yes on the poll, and your details are automatically shared with a learning advisor. And so if you live anywhere in the US or Canada, you should be reached out by a learning advisor in the next few hours. But anywhere else in the world, say India or anywhere else, you will be contacted tomorrow. And an admissions panel will see if you're eligible for the course. And let's say you're good to go, then they'll share a payment link where you can reserve your seat for the upcoming cohort. So that's how the admission steps are. It's just a snapshot of the certificate that you will receive. And this is the course fee. A lot of you had questions about what your course fee is. Close to 2,35,000 Indian rupees. And if you would want to opt for installment options, you can also do that at about 10,500 odd a month. And if you live in the US or anywhere in North America, you will be paying about $4,300. And with installments, that comes to about $430 a month. Now, I understand this does not cover all the regions of people all of you learners belong to different parts of the world. So remember, I shared the link to the course page. So if you just head there and scroll down to the bottom, you will be able to see the course fee in your currency, in your region, wherever you stay. Okay. And if this seems interesting to you, something that you want to explore next, you can definitely click a yes on the poll here. Let me just launch the poll right now. Okay. Yeah. So I've launched this poll. And when you click a yes, it means that you're interested in exploring the program more. You want to understand this in detail. Let's say this is too short time for you to decide. You can just head to the course page, download the brochure, and take your time in talking to a learning advisor. That also is possible. But remember, you get exclusive scholarship for attending this webinar, a 15% scholarship. You'll also receive this in your email as a follow-up, but this is exclusive to the webinar attendees here, right? So when you click a yes, do ensure to talk to the learning advisor. I mean, they already know this, but do mention that you attended this session and you would like to avail this scholarship here. Okay. And just about when the next cohort is starting, it's right around the corner. So the induction is coming up on the 18th of September, which is about 9 days away. And the regular classes start after a month. So the induction classes are mostly around how you can access your course material. That's where your cohort managers introduce to you. The trainers are also introduced to you. Solomon is actually going to be there in the next cohort. So you will see him there as well. So in case you are interested, do let us know on the poll that I've launched. Okay. Yeah. And while the poll is live, what I would like to also do is take some questions. How much would it be for UE? Did you mean, okay, I'm not sure about the full form. Very sorry. So I'm not sure if it's UAE or UK. I don't know where. But either way, when you head to the course page, Matteo, you should be able to see the fee in your currency. Okay. Let me just send that link to you. Please ensure you open that. Someone also had question about class timing. Now, again, remember the course page has this. I'm just going to share my screen now and show you timings in IST because I live in India. So the page only shows Indian Standard Time. These are your timings, 7:30 to 11:30 IST weekends, Saturday and Sunday. And this is your timing for the induction class. Obviously, this will change when you are in the US or anywhere else in the world. Okay? Yeah, I hope that answers your question as well. So as you can see, these are obviously really long sessions. So Solomon can shed some light there as well. It's not like a webinar where it's a one-way conversation. Solomon, maybe you could just help the learners understand how our class is happening.
All right, thank you. So one of the beautiful things about our class is that it's very conversational, right? It's a two-way thing. It's not like we are watching a video on YouTube, yeah, or you're taking an online course where you just need to sit before your screen. Yeah, so these classes are very interactive. You get to interact with other learners. You get to also interact with tutors like myself. You get to ask live questions and get feedback in class. Yeah, so that's how the live classes are. And it's not just some theoretical stuff like what we did today. Yeah, our classes are usually hands-on. Yeah, we get to work through codes together, solve problems together, and all of those things. It's usually interesting.
Got it. Understood. So some non-session related questions that we have is another very interesting question that we have is, what is the revolution or what kind of changes are coming up in machine learning the next few years? How is that shaping up?
All right. So I think what I would say about this is that agentic AI is one of the things that is still very new in the field of AI. And there are still a whole lot of, I wouldn't say evolution or revolution happening within that space. Yeah, a whole lot is going on within that space. I think it's a space to watch. Yeah, as to the next revolution that will be coming out, I wouldn't know specifically, but I know for sure that agentic AI is one of the things making the wave now. Yeah, and it's something to look out for.
Got it. Agentic AI. All right. Understood. Another question that, a couple of questions actually. One learner has this question about projects. So apart from the course end projects that are there, the capstone projects, do you have any websites, platforms where people can explore other projects as well, just for learning and working?
Yeah, you could explore projects on Cargo. I'm sure Cargo is the biggest open source data science, machine learning, deep learning project platform. Yeah, there are hackathons there also. There are free projects. You just pick up data sets and work. You could also explore projects on Zindi Africa. Yeah, the beautiful thing about Cargo and Zindi is that you get to work on industry-specific projects. Yeah, pick projects, work on it. And yeah, so those are two places you can get real life projects to work on aside the capstone projects.
Got it. Got it. Understood. So I hope that answers your question. Sandeep and someone else on the chat also had a similar question. So this question is related to the roadmap that you suggested, Solomon. So Sanzi actually has this question. This person plans to finish the fundamentals of data science this semester. I mean, I'm assuming the next 3 months, and then start with portfolio. He wants to know if this is too rushed or is the speed fine?
Okay, so I wouldn't know how long the semester you're referring to is, but one of the things I would say is that, like I said before, you need to ensure you grasp the fundamental before moving on. Yeah, there's no need rushing when you've not gotten the fundamentals. Yeah, but if you've gotten the fundamentals and you feel you can handle projects, then fine, give it a try. It's more like an iterative process. You learn, you come back to it and learn again. As an instructor, as I get to prepare for classes, I still get to learn new things when I prepare for classes. So give it time, work on project, and yeah, you always come back again.
Got it. So Solomon, a few learners are asking you to spell it out. So is it Kaggle or Dalgo? I'm trying to look it up, but I'm not able to understand which one it is.
It's
Yeah.
Kaggle,
Got it.
Kaggle.
Yeah, I can share that link on the chat.
Yeah.
Spell it out. Yeah, that's the link. Someone wants
that's
to understand. Yeah. Got it. And okay, some question directed towards you, anonymously posted. What are the mistakes that you made while you were learning as a beginner? I'm sure you said that in the beginning of the session that you didn't have a structured learning process, but anything apart from that, the learner should be careful about or mindful about.
I think one of the mistakes I made was that I didn't learn the fundamentals of Python enough before jumping into data science. Yeah, so and that's why I spent time to talk about getting to learn that fundamental of Python before dabbling into data science and some other stuff.
Got it. All right. I think that establishes the fact that Python is really important. Course also actually spends a lot of time helping the learners build that. Where can we get the link after the webinar? Sapna, which link are you talking about? If you're talking about Kaggle, I have shared that on the chat. You can bookmark it. If you're talking about link to the course, also I'm going to send that here to you. So please make sure you bookmark it. Okay, it's already there on the chat box. So yeah. Right. I think that brings us to the what projects in Python before ML roadmap. I'm not sure of your name, but if you can elaborate that question, I didn't really understand. So last few seconds for you guys to express interest in the program. Once that is done, we'd actually like to launch another poll asking your name for webinar certificate. Yes, Yash, that's what we're going to do next. So I'm just going to give the learners a few more seconds, sorry. We'll start the certificate poll as well. Okay, another learner has this question. What projects in Python up to NumPy pandas to make before ML roadmap? Okay, before learning machine learning, what are projects in Python? Yeah.
Okay, so while I can't remember any project right off at the tip of my fingers, but one of the things I want you to know as you learn Python is to be very conversant with for loops, while loops, creating functions, object-oriented programming. I'll say it again. Defining functions, learning how to define functions, for loop, while loop, if and else statements, conditional statement, logical statement, all of these things are so important that you master them. Master does not mean that you are an expert, but you have a good level of proficiency in them. they would make your work easy when you dabble into data science and machine learning. Your work would be so easy. Yeah. So those are some of the things I would love that you focus on.
Got it. Understood. All right. So Anmol, please drop an email about a previous webinar. I'm just going to end this poll right here. Thank you so much to everyone who's expressed interest. Do remember that you're still eligible for your scholarship, but that's condition again based on your eligibility joining the course. Yeah. So with this, let me just quickly launch the certificate poll. So your certificate is going to look something like this. Do ensure that you only mention your full name and nothing else in the field, in the poll that I've launched. Okay. Yeah. If you are looking to contact us, webinars@simplilearn.net, please contact us there. In case you want to attend future webinars or have questions related to this webinar, you can do that. But remember, just to address the basic ones, you will receive the webinar recording and also the deck. Okay. And following that, you will receive a link with the scholarship percentage to enroll and become a part of the upcoming cohort. And also the direct contact number of our learning advisor in case you're still interested to talk to them. Okay. So all of this is going to come to you as separate emails in the next few days. So you don't have to worry about your recording or your certificate. You don't have to email me that because that's a default. But let's say you have anything else to ask us for upcoming sessions or anything else, please email us at webinars@simplilearn.net. Okay. And I'm just going to leave the link to the course and also kaggle.com. I mean, that's pretty straightforward, but just going to leave that here on the chat because a lot of learners are asking me that question. Okay. Yeah, but it was great bringing this session to you guys. Thank you so much, Solomon, for your time. It was amazing listening to you and your journey. Would you like to share some last advice for learners? I know you already did that. A lot of times you established about the fundamentals, but anything else that you would want to share?
All right. So one of the things I want to share is that having an interest to learn machine learning, AI in this day and time is very, very important. Yeah, joining this webinar is one step. Yeah, the other step is to ensure that you get a structured learning, and Simplilearn actually does provide you that structure you require. Yeah, so this webinar is the first step. I look forward to seeing some of you and all of you in class. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Solomon. Thank you so much for taking the time out. Thank you, learners, as well. It was some amazing questions that came in today. I know we were not able to address some of them. Like I said, the certificate will come to you tomorrow. I already said that. Recording and the certificate tomorrow. I'm not sure about the scholarship if you would decide to enroll next year, Joanne. I'm really not sure. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for your amazing comments as well. I'm just ending this poll for webinar certificate as well. I'll see you around next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Bye, Solomon.